Do you ever just have a time when you just hate the world? Where all the things that spawn just shit come from? Do you know of a place where unbelievably stupid ideas become reality? I do, and it's called the internet. And that is the segue into today's story. I don't care if you like the story or if you hate the story. This is my opinion. And I hate the story. So fucking much. Jeff the Killer is bad. I will not say it is good. But this story just infuriates me. And I'm here to tell you, beautiful motherfuckers, why. That's what you want to know, isn't it? That's what you all want to know. And if you didn't, then fuck off. Why are you on this video? I've already been demonetized. I've said like 3 fucks. I'm only allowed 1. I'm not even allowed 1. I mean, doesn't that seem weird? I mean, a PG-13 movie doesn't get an R rating for saying fuck once, but yet a YouTube video gets demonetized for saying it once. Like, you can't say it at all. There should be a barrier or something describing what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. But aside from stupid YouTube policies, let's get started on today's story. Binge round. Ben. Benny boy. Wish I could drown your ass. Let's get started. Welcome to Fear Itself Reviews. I think this is episode 6. I need to really get this shit, prepared. I'm a dumbass sometimes. Sometimes, all the times. Yeah. Episode 6. Binge round. This one is one I've wanted to do since I started this series, and I hate this story with a burning passion, the likes of which I have never seen for any other story. And I've listened to the stories that Hoodoo Hoodlum reviews. Yeah. So, you know. Alright, let's get this shit over with, because this is gonna take me a while and I've already rambled on. Creepypasta. Post number 1. September 7th, 2010. Okay, X, because why the fuck not? Let's start with Reddit. No, that's not Reddit. I think that's 4chan, isn't it? I think that's whatever it is. Whatever it is, I need your help with this. This next sentence makes me want to punch a hole in the wall I'm sitting next to. This is not a copypasta. Of course it's not. Your story is 100% real. And you know what? I can't do this. I thought I could do it. I thought I was ready. Could somebody just end my pain? We're not even 3 sentences in, people. This is gonna be a long one. This is a long read. But I feel like my safety or well-being might very well depend on this. This is video game related. Always a great subject. I love it so much. More, please. Specifically Majora's Mask, and this is the creepiest shit that's ever happened to me in my entire life. Oh, I'm sure. Having said that, I recently moved into my dorm room starting as a sophomore in college, and a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64 to play. I was stoked, to say the least. I could finally play all of those shitty old games of my youth that I hadn't touched in at least a decade. His Nintendo 64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shoddy copy of Super Smash Bros. Oh, was that haunted too? A rather shoddy, what does that mean? What the fuck does that mean, rather shoddy? I'm focusing on the wrong things. And while beggars can't be choosers, needless to say it didn't take long until I became bored of beating up level 9 CPUs. That weekend... Oh, really? Maybe you should try to get Mewtwo. That'll give you some time. That weekend, I decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off campus, hitting up the local garage sales, hoping to score on some good deals from ignorant parents. I ended up picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, F-Zero, and 2 other controllers for $2. I could believe that. Satisfied, I began to drive out of the neighborhood when one last house caught my attention, a fucking course. I still have no idea why I did. There were no cars there, and only one table was set up with random junk on it. Did it even say garage sale? How do you know that this old man hadn't just left a whole bunch of stuff out on this random fucking table, and you just happened upon a street that was just... How did you... Okay, I don't live in a huge city, but I don't live in a small city. But there's not, like, a street full, like, a whole neighborhood full of just garage sales. Like, you'd have to go hunting for that shit. And even then, you're not guaranteed to find anything. So, the realism in this story... Before this stupid motherfucking character has ever been introduced, has already plummeted to 0. Thank you, writer. And before anybody says anything like, oh, you writing unrealistic either. And I say, mine's not supposed to be realistic. This guy's trying to pass this off as fucking real. I never try to pass mine off as real. Mine is completely fictitious. And I embrace that. Why would you want to write a real story? It limits you in what you can do. Because then, when you write stupid fucking shit like this, it doesn't make any goddamn sense! Let's keep going. I usually trust my gut on these things, so I got out of the car and I was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was, for lack of a better word, displeasing. It was odd. If you asked me to tell you why I thought he was displeasing, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. There was just something about him that put me on edge. I can't explain it. All I can tell you is that if it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there were other people within shouting distance, I would not have even thought of approaching this man. But, regardless of that, I'm still going to go up to this man and try to purchase video games from him. That seems like a great idea. I'm afraid of this man if there were not people that were within distance of me, but I'm still going to try and purchase goods from this man. This seems like a great idea. I see nothing wrong with purchasing shoddy games from an old man in a house where there's no cars and nobody's buying anything. And it's very apparent that everybody else is avoiding this house, but I'm still going to go and buy some fucking game from him. Hold on. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't know what the fuck you're dealing with. It doesn't make any sense. Any fucking sense. Oh. Sorry about that. Let's continue. He flashed a crooked smile at me and asked what I was looking for, and immediately I noticed that he must be blind in one of his eyes. His right eye had that glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look at his left eye instead, trying not to offend, and asked him if he had any old video games. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation because I'm a fucking idiot, when he would tell me that he had no idea what a video game was. But to my surprise, he said he had a few old ones in an old box. He assured me he'd be back in a jiffy, and turned to head back into the garage. As I watched him hobble away, I couldn't help but notice what he was selling on his table. Littered across his table were rather peculiar paintings, various artworks that looked like ink blots that a psychiatrist might show you. I looked at one of them. It looked like a bird. I looked at another one. It looked like a bird. I looked at another It looked like a bird. I looked at the last one. It looked like a shitty story! Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. These weren't exactly aesthetically pleasing. As I came to the last one, for some reason it looked almost like Majora's Mask. The same heart-shaped body with little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I just thought that since I was secretly hoping to find the game at these garage sales, some fruity and bullshit was projected. Never mind, I was like, where the fuck's my watch? It should show. I'm sorry. I'm gonna break the mold right here for a sec. This story is so fucking boring to me that I just was more worried about whether my watch was right in front of my line of sight rather than recording this story. For anybody wondering why I've never done this story, it's because I can't take it seriously. There's no other way for me to be able to read this shit. I am sorry. This stupid fucking story is killing me. Oh. Did you like that song rendition there? I thought it was beautiful and poetic. I deserve a medal. Several, maybe. It went platinum in 20 countries. I think I broke my brain. Mama done gone broke my brain. Done gone broke it. Ain't got no words left. I don't know, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I should have asked the man about it. I wish I would have asked the man about it. After staring at the Pandora-shaped block, I looked up as the old man was suddenly there again, arms linked in front of me, smiling at me. I'll admit I jumped out of reflex and I laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was a standard gray color, except that someone had written Majora on it in black permanent marker. I got butterflies in my stomach as I realized what a coincidence this was and asked him how much he wanted for it. The old man smiled at me and told me that I could have it for free, that it used to belong to a kid who was about my age that didn't live here anymore. What a coincidence. There was something weird about how the old man phrased that, but I didn't really pay any attention to then. I was too caught up not only finding this game, getting it for free. I reminded myself. I reminded myself not to fall asleep. I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since this looked like a pretty shady cartridge and there's no guarantee that it would work, but then the optimist inside me interjected that maybe it was some kind of beta version or pirated version of the game. Why would that be a good thing? And that was all I needed to be back on Cloud 9. I thanked the man, and the man smiled at me and wished me to well, saying goodbye then. What if I just read the rest of the story like this? At least that's when it sounded like to me all the way in the car ride home. I had a nagging doubt that the man had something and said had Fuck me. This is terrible. Kill me now. Please. It's making me die. I think I've actually lost my goddamn mind. At least that's what it sounded like to me. All the way in the car ride home, I had a nagging doubt that the man had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it worked just fine, and there was one save file named simply Ben. Goodbye, Ben! He was saying goodbye, Ben. I felt bad for the man, obviously a grandparent, and obviously going senile, and I, for some reason or another, reminded him of his grandson, Ben. Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file. Eyeballing it, I could tell that he was pretty far in the game. He had almost all of the masks and 3/4 remains of the bosses. I noticed that he had used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3 and by the stone tower temple with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was a shame that he had come so close to beating the game, but he never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of tradition and started the game, ready to relive my childhood like a dumb fuck. For such a shady-looking game cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran, literally just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there, like textures being where they shouldn't be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, but nothing too bad. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that at times the NPCs would call me Link, and other times they would call me Ben. I figured that it was just a bug, a fluke in the programming causing our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out, though, after a while. And it was around when I had beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted Ben. I'd intended to preserve the file just out of respect of the game's original owner for whatever reason. That doesn't make any sense. There's absolutely no reason why you would ever need to do that. I don't know why you would insert that in the story. That makes absolutely no sense. The guy has that. You didn't know if he was dead. You had no idea if he was banned. You did not even know if that old man even had an actual person. He could have just been incredibly insane and imagined an entire person that just did not even exist in reality. For all you know, he was a giant 20-foot tall purple dragon people eater. You don't know. It's not like I needed 2 files anyway, hoping that would solve the problem. It did and it didn't. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. That doesn't solve it, so that doesn't mean it did. It didn't. That didn't solve the problem. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name would show up in the dialogue, there was just a blank space. My save file name was still called Link though. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing the game again whenever I didn't think that I had any more life left. When I realized that I had no life, I started playing the game. When I realized that I have absolutely no life, I started playing the game again last night. Getting the lens of truth and working my way towards completing the Snowhead Temple. Now some of you more hardcore Majora's Mask players know about the 4-day glitch. For those of you who don't, you can Google it, but the gist... I'm not gonna tell you about it, but you can Google it, but... It's a crazy thing. I'm gonna tell you anyway. That's basically what just happens right here. You can Google it, but here's what happens. I need air. It's very hot in here. It is too hot for my taste. Just gonna turn that on for a sec. Get a little bit of that background noise. It's soothing. It's a quiet noise. It almost makes you forget all about the shitty story we're reading. Right? We're taking a little bit of a break here now. Breathe in. And breathe out. See, don't that feel good? Everything's so terrible. It makes you wanna punch your baby seal right in the face. Like taking 30 knives and jamming them into my eyeballs. Why did I do this? Why did I think this would be a good idea? Fucking crazy. But the gist of it is that the gist of it is that right as the clock is about to hit 0 on the final day, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it right, the countdown disappears and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you were doing. Deciding to do the glitch to try and finish the Snowhead Temple, I happened to get it right on the first try and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. However, when I pressed B to exit the telescope, instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora boss fight room at the end of the game, the trippy boxed-in arena, staring at Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air above me, and the background music, which was regular for the area but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, and no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. I just want to get this fucking shit over with. Please, somebody just end my fucking misery. Nothing would happen, though, and this kept up for around 60 seconds. I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach for the reset button, which text appeared on the screen. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. I don't know why that has anything to do with anything. I instantly recognize the text that gets the message when you get the room key from Manji stockpot and why was it playing here? I refused to, did you like that? That was kind of like my little my Morty. I refused to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started to navigate the room again, testing to see if it was some sort of trigger that enabled me to interact with something here. Then I realized how stupid I was to even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd, even though it was absolutely 100% positive that somebody had messed with the programming. I am a dumbass, and I should think more before I write stories. Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on the screen, and again, like the first one, it was a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple's boss. Yes, no. I paused for a second, contemplating which I should press, and how the game would react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the green screen faded to white with the words "Dawn of a New Day" with the subtext I. I've lost it all completely. I have nothing left in me. The demons, I think they've taken over my brain, my thinking, and my thoughts. Life is like a box of Majora's Mask creepypastas. Most of them have been jammed. All of them have been jammed. Why does everybody love Ben Jan? This story sucks, asshole. What the fuck is wrong with you people? This story is so fucking long, and it sucks. It sucks so much. What do you people see in this shit? Oh, Jesus Christ, we're not even halfway through. I'm scared. Where I was ported to filled me with the most intense sense of dread and impending fear I'd ever experienced. The only way I can describe the way I felt here is having this feeling of inexplicable depression is on a profound scale. I'm not normally a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't know existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash over me. It's a game. It's a fucking game. The only way I can describe the way I felt here is having this feeling... Never mind, I just read that. I'm losing it. I can't do this shit. I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clock Town. I walked out of the clock tower as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that all the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the fourth day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that runs around outside the tower. This time they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling that there was something out there in the same area as me, and it was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name and the hero's bow, but at this point I wasn't even considered for my avatar. At this point, I wasn't even considered for my avatar. What? I felt that I was personally in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was a song of healing ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. I will give this game credit, or not this game. I will give this story credit for one thing and one thing only. The birth of the reverse song of healing, which is very, very, very ominous. I will give that. Bruh fucking oh. You got one thing right. Anything else? And I just can't. I don't know if I can do this all in one sitting. This is too much. I know I keep saying that, but you guys don't know how painful this is for me to sit here in this hot-ass room with no air and talk about this fucking story. I gotta turn on the fan. I can't do it without the fan. I gotta... fuck the white noise. I'm sorry about this, but... Shitty story, shitty background noise. So, there we go. Alright. It was the song of healing, reverse. The music would get louder, building up so that we would expect something to pop out at you, but nothing ever did, and the constant loop began to wear on my mental state. Every now and then I would hear the faint laugh of the happy masked salesman in the background, just quiet enough so that I wasn't sure if I was hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of Clocktown only to find nothing, no one. Textures were missing, West Clocktown had me walking on air, the entire area felt broken. Hopelessly broken. As the reverse song of healing repeated for what must have been the 50th time, I just remember standing in the middle of South Clocktown, realizing that I had never felt so alone in a video game before. It's really sad. This part right here is not terrible. You could have done so much more with this story. It really doesn't fall apart until the end. I've been very nitpicky with the beginning, very exaggerated, but it had a lot of potential with the first setup. And I was very intrigued when I first heard the story until, and I'm sure most people can agree with me on this, until you bring in shit with Cleverbot. Why would you bring in stuff? We'll get to that when we get to that. We need to get through this story relatively fast. As I walked through the ghost town, I didn't know whether it was the combination of the out-of-place textures in the atmosphere and the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted, but I was literally on the verge of tears and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something had gripped me here, and this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black, and I would just zone into another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I wanted to escape, and I did not want to be here, but every time I played the Song of Time or Song of Soaring, it would only say, your notes echo far, but nothing happens. By this point, it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave, but I had no idea why I was being kept here. I didn't want to go inside the buildings. I felt that I would be too vulnerable there to whatever I was terrified of. I didn't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself at the laundry pool, I could spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's when it happened. Link grabbed his head, and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the happy mask salesman smiling at me. Not Link, me with Skull Kid's scream playing in the background. And when the screen returned and I was staring at the Link statue playing from the song of Elegy of Emptiness, I screamed as the thing just stared back at me with this haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out into South Clocktown, and to my horror, the fucking statue followed me, and the only way I can compare this is like the weeping angels from Doctor Who, because why not put a Doctor Who reference in? Every so often at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or I don't even want to fucking say it, haunting me. This is where it gets cheesy. By this point, I was on the verge of hysterics, but not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me because I'm a dumb motherfucker. I don't know why. I was so wrapped up in it. The terror felt all so real. I wanted to scare myself some more. I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations that I had never seen him do before. He would flail his arms around or spasm randomly, and the screen would cut to the happy mask salesman smiling again for a brief moment before I was face to face with that fucking statue again. I ended up running into the Swordmaster's dojo and ran to the back. I don't know why, but in my panic I just wanted some kind of assurance that I'm not alone here. To my dismay, I found no one, but as I turned to leave, the statue cornered me in the cubby in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail. It's a statue! Confused and backed into a corner, I just stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me. Suddenly, the screen flashed again to the happy mask salesman, and Link turned to face my screen, standing upright, mirroring the statue, looking at me along with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while I ran out of the dojo terrified. Suddenly, the game warped me to an underground tunnel, and the reverse song of healing queued up again, and I was given a brief moment of rest before the statue started appearing behind me again, this time aggressively. I could only take a few steps before it would summon behind me again. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and appeared in South Clocktown. As I ran aimlessly in a sheer panic, suddenly a Redeed screamed. I don't know how to pronounce shit from Zelda, guys. Sorry. And the screen faded to black as dawn of a new day, and I appeared again. The screen faded in, and I was standing on top of Clock Tower with Skull Kid hovering over me again, silent. I looked up and the moon was back, looming just meters above my head, but the Skull Kid was stared up at me hauntingly with that fucking mask. A new song was playing. The Stone Tower Temple's theme played in reverse. In some sort of desperate attempt, I equipped my bow and fired off a shot at the Skull Kid, and it actually hit him, and he played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, a text box appeared saying, "That won't do you any good. Hee hee." And I was picked up off the ground, levitated upwards on my back, and then Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing him. I jumped when this happened. I had never seen that move used by anyone in the game, and Skull Kid himself didn't have any moves. As the death screen played, my lifeless body still burning, the Skull Kid laughed and the screen faded to black, only to have me reappear in the same place. I decided to charge him, but the same thing happened. Link's body was lifted off the ground by some unknown force, and he immediately burst into flames again, killing him. This time doing... Can we skip this part? As the death screen neared its end, it began to chug, as if the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something. When the screen came to, it was the same scene as the first 3 times, except this time Link was lying on the ground, dead in a position I had never seen him in the game before, his head tilted towards the camera, with the Skull Kid floating above him. I couldn't move, I couldn't press any buttons, all I could do was just stare at Link's dead body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game simply fades out with the message, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" before kicking you out of the title screen. Upon getting back to the title screen and starting again, I noticed my save file was no longer there. Instead of Link, it was replaced with, "Your turn! Your turn!" Had 3... Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Had 3 hearts, 0 masks, and no items. I selected, "Your turn!" And immediately when I did, I was returned to the Clock Tower rooftop scene of my Link dead, and the Skull Kid hovering over, with the Skull Kids laughing, looping again and again. I quickly hit the reset button, and when the game booted up again, there was one more save file added below, "Your turn!" entitled, Burns. Save file is right back where it was before I deleted this. At the Stone Tower Temple with the moon almost crashing. I turned the game off at that point. I'm not superstitious, but this is way too fucked up for even me. I haven't played it at all today. Hell, I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing the reverse song of healing music in my head, and I just remembered that since I tried the feeling about exploring Clock Tower. I drove back to the old man's house today to ask him some questions with a buddy of mine. No ways I'll go in there alone, even though that's what I did the first time, only to find that there's a for sale sign in the front yard. When I rang the doorbell, no one was home. Yay! So now I'm back here writing the rest of this down and recording what happened. Sorry if some of this has grammatical errors and whatnot. I'm running on no sleep here. I'm terrified of this game. Even now more than I ever lived it. The second time writing this down, but I feel like it's still more to it than meets the eye. Transformers more than meets... It's more than meets the Mordor. So now that I relived the second, calling to investigate further, think Ben something equation, don't know what. If I could get a whole old man, I'd be able to find some answers, need another day, recuperate, tackling the game. I'd been taking toll, sanity, feel like, blah blah, next time, do this, record with footage, blah blah, ideas to record only came toward the end, because I'm stupid, so you can see the last few minutes of what I saw, what's on YouTube. Let's extend this thread for a little while longer before I fall asleep to answer any questions you guys might have, or hopefully listen to your ideas or theories to help me set some light into this, maybe things that I should try to do. I think I'm going to try and play Ben's file tomorrow, just see what happens. Maybe I was supposed to do that all along. I don't believe in paranormal shit, but this is way too fucked up. But maybe this Ben guy is just a really good hacker, programmer. I don't want to think about alternatives if he isn't. That's the end of the copy paste. I'm hoping that maybe there's some kind of writing gag, gag hacked out, part 2. I'm going to post what happened and link the video footage, but last night everything got too real for me. I think I'm done messing around with this. I passed out pretty much immediately after making that thread, but last night, that LG of emptiness statue, I had a dream about it. I dreamed that I was being followed in my dream and that I was being my own business when we feel the neck hair stand on end. I turned around and bang that hobo lifeless statue staring with those empty eyes right at me, merely inches away. In my dream, I remember calling it then, and never before had I had a dream that I could remember so vividly. But the important thing is I did get some sleep, I suppose. I need to get some sleep after reading this goddamn story. Today, putting off playing the game as long as I could, I drove back up to that neighborhood to see if the old man came back. As I expected, the car's still gone, no one's home. I just walked back to the car, man next door mowing the grass, killed power to his lawnmower, and asked me if I was looking for someone. I told him I was looking for this old man that lived here, which he told me what I already knew. He's moving, trying a different avenue. I asked the old man had any family relatives I could talk to. I discovered the old man had never been married, nor had no children, no grandchildren, no adoption. Starting to become worried, I asked one final question, one that I should have asked from the beginning. Who's Ben? The man's expression turned grim, and I learned that photo down around 8 years ago on April 23rd. The man informed me that was the same day as his anniversary. That's when he knew the specific date. Well, at least he didn't say, I remember it because it's 3 days after Hitler's birthday. There's an accident with a young boy named Ben in the neighborhood. Shortly after his parents moved, and despite any further attempts to talk to the man to get more info, he wouldn't divulge nothing. I went back and started playing again. I loaded up the game and immediately I jumped at the house screen with the mass files by. The sound that played was not the normal whoosh sound, but it was something much more higher pitched. I pressed start, bracing for the worst, but just like the 2 nights ago, the files... And then... when displaying... Truth be told, I looked at the bin file earlier. It seemed to fluctuate between displaying the owl statue and not. I brought up the bin file, hesitated for a moment, noticing the stats were not the same as the original 2 days ago. Seemed like he had already completed the Stone Tower Temple this time. Summoning my courage, I selected it. Immediately, I was thrust into the complete chaos. Sure enough, I was outside Stone Tower Temple, but that was about all I expected. The zone itself wasn't called Stone Tower Temple, but rather S-T-O-N-E. Actually, no, it's St-O-N-E. So, St-O-N. And immediately, dialogue box of complete gibberish that I couldn't make out greeted me. I gotta tell you, the scariest thing in this story so far has been that part right there, because grammatical errors are very scary. Link's body was distorted, his back was cocked violently to the side, haha cocked. Where his posture was permanently disfigured, Link's expression was dull, almost monotonous. He had an expression on his face that I didn't recognize before. It was a blank look, as if he was dead. As Link stood there, his body spasmed irregularly back and forth. As I examined what I had become my avatar, I noticed I had a C button item I'd never seen before, some kind of note, but pressing it did nothing. Sounds played back and forth that I didn't recognize from the game, almost demonic in nature, and there was some kind of high-pitched yip or some kind of laugh or something playing in the background. I had all of 2 minutes to take in the environment before another one of those fucking LG emptiness statues was summoned immediately after cut to the dawn of a new day, except this time without the I subtext. I was in Deku scrubbing this clock in a clock town this time. The scene would normally play after the first time you travel back in time. All it would say was what just happened, as if everything has. When the saying started over, she finished her remark and broken text is the laugh of the happy masked salesman played in the background. I was putting control of my character, but from a fucked up camera angle, everything's fucked up. This happy masked salesman's fucked up. The camera angle's fucked up. The controls are fucked up. Everything's fucked up. I'm fucked up. I feel fucked up after reading this. I feel very fucked up. I was looking from behind the door to the clock tower, watching my avatar running around in his Deku scrub, seeing as how I really had no place to go because I couldn't see anything. I begrudgingly went inside the door. There I was greeted by the happy masked salesman who simply told me, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" Before the screen read out, I was in Termina Field as a human again. I might as well not have been playing the game anymore. I was being warped around and there was no sign of a day clock or anything. I took a moment to get my bearings as I looked around the field and immediately I could tell this is not normal. There are no enemies, and a twisted version of the Happy Mask Salesman theme was playing. I started to run around the woodfall before I noticed a gathering of 3 figures off the side, one of them being Epona. As I approached them, to my horror, I saw the Happy Mask Salesman, the Skull Kid, and the Allegiance of Emptiness statue just standing there. I figured maybe they were bugged out, but by now I told myself I should know better. Nevertheless, I approached them carefully and found that the Skull Kid was playing some kind of idle animation on loop. Demon the statue in the Happy Mac gave me maybe an attitude. He chews out of wearing that shit again. There's a few things in here that are shit-eating, but wherever I moved, his head would slowly turn and follow me. I had not engaged in any shit like with him, or was in combat with him, yet his head would still continue to follow my movements. Reminding him of first encounter with the Skull Kid on top of Clock Tower, I pulled out my ocarina to which the game played the ding sound. My mouse keeps turning off, damn it. Damn it. Alright. I pulled out my ocarina to watch the gameplay that somebody is supposed to play your ocarina and try a song I hadn't played yet. Was the Happy Mask Salesman's own song and a song I've been playing on loop back in the day before. The song was Zip Zop Zoopity Bop. That's the Cosby joke, everybody. You liked it. Alright. Song of Healing. Finished playing the song, and as I did, a ear-piercing shriek blasted on my TV. The sky immediately started flashing. The Happy Mask Salesman twisted theme started sped up. Intensified fear inside me, and Link exploded into flames and died. The 3 figures later lit up, staring at my desk screen as they watched my life's body burn. I can't describe to you how sudden and terrifying the transition from eerie to terror is. You're going to have to watch the video if you want to see firsthand, because you're going to have to give me all that sweet YouTube money. That same fear had caused me to stop, lose sleep over the last 2 days. Start to grip me again as I met with Dex. You met horrible fate, haven't you? For a 3rd time. There has had to be some kind of meaning behind that. No fucking shit. I think it just means you die. I had little time to ponder as I was immediately given another small cutscene to transforming into Azora, and now I found myself in Great Temple Bay. Hesitant but curious to see what the game had in store for me, I slowly made my way towards the beach where I found Epona. I wondered why the game had decided to put her here. Was the game implying that she was trying to drink? Unable to get the mask off, I decided that riding that steed wasn't the reason she was placed there. Suddenly, I realized that Epona kept neighing in the way that she's angled me and looked like she was trying to signal a point off in the distance. It was a hunch, but I dove into Great Bay and started swimming. Sure enough, I almost missed it. I found something at the bottom, one last Elegy of Emptiness statue. I went down to examine it, and suddenly Zora started doing choking animation as I'd never seen Zora do before, which didn't even make sense because Zora can't breathe in the water. Regardless, my character choked to death and died, and again, the statue was the only thing that was highlighted in my death. I didn't respond this time. I was booted back to my menu, never returned to console. The press start screen was before me. I knew the only reason I would put it here was because the save files had changed again. Taking a deep breath, the press start, and I was right. The new save files told me about Ben. Now it made sense why the statue appeared when I tried to go to the laundry pool. The game must have anticipated how I would try to escape the day 4 clock town. The 2 save files told me his fate. As I expected, Ben was dead. He had drowned. The game obviously isn't through with me. It taunts me with his new save files. It wants me to keep playing. It wants me to go further, but I'm done with this shit. I'm not touching any more of the files. This is already way too horrifying for me, and I don't even believe in paranormal. I'm running out of explanations. Why would someone send me this message? I don't understand it. I just don't get too depressed thinking about this. Unfortunately, something for those of you who want to see it and try and analyze it. Maybe there's some kind of coded message in the gibberish or something about it went through it. I'm too emotionally and mentally drained to fuck with it anymore. Post number 3. Are we almost done? Damn it, how many more of these are there? Oh my god! Fuck you. I I know it's early in the morning. I stayed up all night. I can't sleep. I don't care if people see this. That's not the point. I just want the world to get experiences that I don't suffer for nothing. I've lost the will to time about this. The less I dwell on this, the better. If you're wondering why I'm doing this voice, it's because it's very, very clear that this is being written by a little bitch. I think the video just speaks for itself. I did what you guys told me to do. I played the audio event in the song, and the first part of the game I was given was I think that's what the gamer been. Jesus Christ, I can't even believe I'm human. The absurd idea that exists in the game with me to do. He's following me now. I'm not just in the game. He's in my dreams. I see him all the time. Back my bag, just watching me. I haven't gone to any of my classes. I stayed in my dorm room like a little bitch with the windows closed and the blinds shut. That's why he can't watch me. But he still gets me when I play. When I play, he can still see me. The game is scaring me now, okay? He talked to me for the first time, not just using text authority in the game. He spoke to me. He talked to me. Every day they talk to me. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. I never wanted that. I didn't want my own life back. You can't see my face right now, but if you could take all the disgust in the world, put it into one look, it would be the look I have on my face right now. Just all the despair and hatred balled up into one look. It would be the look I have right fucking now. Stuff like this doesn't happen to people like me. I'm just a kid, not even old enough to drink yet. It's not fair. I want to go home and when see my parents again. Okay, I'm so fucking done. I'm skipping this paragraph. I can't do it. I can't. Post number 4. Let me just clear things up. I know you guys are worried about Jadju Sable. He's fine. He finished moving out today. And he said he's going back home. He's just taking his semester off. I'm not really sure what happened. I have a vague idea, but you guys probably know more than I do. I'm Jadju Sable's roommate, and obviously I know something was wrong with him for a few days now. He stayed in his room all the time, felt out of contact with literally all his friends, and I'm pretty sure he hadn't been eating anything. After the second day, I couldn't stay in there anymore, so I've been crashing at a buddy's place, only coming in my room to get stuff that I need. I tried talking to him several times, but he would cut me off and keep the conversations brief when I asked him about his strange behavior. It's like he was convinced something was hunting him. Yesterday, I came to grab my philosophy book, and he approached me looking awful, like horrible bags under his eyes. He handed me a flash drive and gave me specific instructions. He told me that he needs me to do one last favor for him. He finally explained to me what was going on, gave me the account info and his YouTube account, and told me that he's getting away from here, that it lured him to play it again instead of trying to change things, and that he shouldn't have done that, and now upload the footage and inform people what happened. I told him that he could do it himself, and he got his wild look in his eye and told me that he's never going to look at that game again. And that's the last thing he said to me. He never had been said bye when his parents came pick him up. I never even got to meet his parents. Honestly, can't tell you what happened when he spoke. It was kind of hard to understand him, and his fucked up appearance really distracted me. On the flash drive, there's a footage of the game last night, a text document with his name and password for YouTube, and a third document called the truth.txt containing what he told me were his notes that he'd taken. He told me that he meant everything to him. He told me this meant everything to him and follows the instructions that normally I wouldn't be so to the letter for a request over a fucking video game. But the way he spoke and the way he looked made it know it was really serious and I'm going to honor that. I've had this video since yesterday, but to have someone help me use Pinnacle, that's not really my forte. Then after watching it, if I had to go back through and look at this other videos on his YouTube account to finally realize what was going on. Even then, I'm really confused. The videos I'm releasing tonight at truth.txt will be released on September 15th, just like he requested. I haven't dared peek at it yet, so the first time I see it will be the first time you see it, out of respect for my friend. To answer your questions, no, I haven't tried calling him yet. I think I'll give him a call tomorrow to see if he's okay or not. He should have gotten back home by now. About the video, in this video I cut straight to when he loaded the bin file in the game. Looking back, I realized that Jadju Sable left the save select screen in because it said different names sometimes, so my bad for before that, but all it said this time was that the same at the end of the last video. The game meant nothing different. I wasn't there when he played it, but it looks to me like in the beginning when he first spawns, he's testing out his equipment or seeing what items he has or something, because apparently they've changed randomly before then. After that, I just think the game got too personal for him. Post number 5. I think this is the last fucking one. Oh, thank God! Thank sweet merciful Jesus! This one right here is the story. This is the story's crux. This entire fucking entry ruins any possibility this story ever had for being good. Hey guys, yeah, Sable here. This will be the last time you'll be hearing from me, and this is my final gift to you. These are the notes that I've taken and the realizations I made. Before I delve into this, I want to thank you for following me and thank you for listening. It feels like the weight of a powerful burden is about to be lifted. By the time you read this, I won't be around anymore, but after spending 4 days with this maddening game, I begin to understand what's playing play here, and hopefully after reading this, we can ensure this never happens again. Maybe after hearing this story, we can ensure that this story never happens again. Oh, wait. Oh, wait! It already has. And that's why this story sucks the most. There were things that I could not share with you while this was going on due to the circumstances to which I'll explain. With Ben blocking any attempt I made to try and relay the truth to you, I tried ever so subtly to warn you guys in various ways. Amidst the chaos to my delirium, I devised to make a barely noticeable pattern in my videos. In all 5 videos I recorded over the 4 days, I have either made the mask of truth, interacted with the gossip stone, or the lens of truth equipped at some point. For you Zelda enthusiasts, these are symbols of honesty and trustworthiness, and I would hope that one of you would pick up the reference. I can't read this anymore, god damn it. We're cutting to the notes. We're cutting to the notes. We're cutting to the notes. September 6, 2010, 11 p.m. Can't believe what happened. Not sure if this is some kind of elaborate hoax. Despite the fear, I can't help but be exceptionally curious about this. Who or what is the statue? Lots of questions here. Starting this document as a diary so I can keep track of everything. I'm typing up a summary of what happened so I can come back to it later. September 7th, 2:10 a.m. Summary was posted here so you can go back and look at my first post. You fucking bitch. 4:23 a.m. Can't sleep. I've been trying so hard, but the harder I try, I can't get more restless. Just feel like statues appearing everywhere when close eye. I'm sorry. I'm gonna humor myself. The actual story's on the screen, but I'm gonna read this in broken English so I can try and humor myself through the rest of this fucking story. 8:20 a.m. Didn't sleep at all. Just gonna start day. Don't think have energy to go class today. Going drive back down, talk old man. Take buddy Tyler. With in case. (1:18 p.m.) Home now. No sign of old man. Real weird he appear to be moved all next day. But maybe for sale sign was there yesterday and just didn't notice. Tyler want to know what gotten all work up. I didn't tell. Going eat feel like death. (3:46 p.m.) Could sworn drive back from Subway. That saw statue buried in shrubbery. Staring me go by. Now definitely need sleep. 5 p.m. Don't think what people believe if I told about what's happening. Think I'm going try post this on internet. Think I just use summary. These notes pretty sporadic. 6 p.m. Connected capture to inner compartment. Connected capture to computer, upload footage. Thought computer froze second. Made strange pop sound. when hook everything up. But now it seems to work fine again. Computer, die on me now. 7 p.m. Footage finish upload. Quality a lot better than thought would be. Gee, guess this really special. Never had come through clear before. 8:45 p.m. Thought saw icon pop on desktop. That looked like statue's face. For split. Gave me quite scare. Getting real unnerved and delirious. Going crash after 9 p.m. Begin upload YouTube on alternate account. 9:03 p.m. Don't remember having upload Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines video. This was probably account I share with friend of mine last summer. I hope doesn't mind me using it. I'm in tears. I'm in fucking tears. 9:55 p.m. Posting summary of day 4 with link to bio. Posting summary of day 4 with link to YouTube video. Going try stay awake, but am so tired now. Okay, right up until the clever bot part, I'm sorry, but I need to read this. I need to read the rest of this just like I just did. And if you hate me for that, fuck you, I don't even care. September 8th, 2010, 10:48 a.m. Had dream about statue. Dream that was following me, dream that I would mind my own business when would feel neck hairs stand up on end. Would turn around that thing. That horrible statue. Would staring with empty eyes, merely inches. In dream, I remember calling it then. Power of suggestion likely. And before had I dreamed that I could hardly remember vividly. Butchered that last one. And before had a dream that I could remember so vividly. 11:21 a.m. Really don't want play this game again. Think I'm going back. See that old man there instead. 1:35 p.m. No man. But had interesting conversation with neighbor. We'll post full thing with summary of attempt at playing game. Going wait for bit though. And see if can't dig up information on Ben guy. 2:45 p.m. Been getting random headaches due to lack of sleep and hearing song in my head. Also flu season. So need be careful not get sick. Immune system going to be shit because of that niter. 3 p.m. 3:02 p.m. Why did you write 3 p.m. if nothing happened? Computer just on own opened a text document and wrote words hi and www.cleverbot.com myself. What the fuck? No, really, what the fuck? Went to website. One chatbot website. One bot chatting program. Think best if just let conversation speak for self. Here we go. Almost there. We're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch. Get this shit over with. Conversation. Hello. Hello. Who is this and how are you able to control computer? Cleverbot. Who am I? User, right. Forgot you're a bot. Cleverbot. You really think like that? User, listen, I know whoever's fucking with my computer can see my screen right now. Cleverbot, yes. User, yeah, and I'll wager that you're one of those IT kids who thinks you're tough shit. You know what you're doing is illegal, right? Notice the way he did this. He didn't put the apostrophe in you are in the first time that he wrote it, but in the second he decided to. Half-assed is still ass! Is it? No shit, are you familiar with the terms invasion of privacy? Get the fuck off my computer, kid. I am your computer. Cool story. Anyway, I'm calling DPS. You picked a bad time to fuck with me. Should I wait until you play the game then? What? That game? Majora's Mask? Yes. How did you know about that? Because what? I did it. Did what? I played with you. What the fuck? Were you scared? Who the fuck is this, Ben? The statue, you're inside computer now? Yes. How? You connected me? How the hell did I connect you? Cables and cords. How? Tell me about yourself. What? What do you mean? Tell me more about yourself. What do you mean? What is it that really scares you? What the fuck? Answer, no answer. What the fuck? How did you just open that by yourself? I am your computer now. How much can you control? All. What do you want from me to entertain? You're stuck inside here. You can't hurt me. Ha! I'm sorry, if you hear that, that's the sound of me banging my head against something. Because this section is the reason this story is a pile of steaming ass! Cleverbot, you had all the resources and all the choices in the fucking internet. You used Cleverbot. You couldn't have gone the route of, say, Chatroom98 and created your own program. You used one that actually exists. But in your fucking awful attempt at making things realistic in this story by inserting something in the real world in it, you have failed immensely. Because at this shoddy attempt, you've made no effort in the rest of the fucking story. Cleverbot speaks for itself. That's why I hate this story. Ha, question mark, go play. No, you can't hurt me. Took you longer to type that, so you're not sure. If you're so powerful, why use a ridiculous website like this to chat with me? Less messy, more structured, fun, yes, tradition, I like it. You think it's funny, amusing, any more in my notes? You may write them down. Why are you letting me? It's amusing to see what you think of me. 3:50 p.m. What have done? I've invited in my computer. Continued writing these notes, write summaries. Feel like I am prisoner in one place of security. Don't know if I'm hallucinating or not. Feel like fucking insane. I can feel it. Watching me. Even type this. Been controlling everything in game. Toying with me. Lead me like sheep. But for what? What's purpose? I know been drowned, but why hauntings? Why fuck am even doing? What fuck am even doing? It probably even see right now. 4:35 p.m. Nothing. 7:18 p.m. Been called to Cleverbot again. He tells me he's sorry and won't be free. and that can free him. That just like how got on computer from capture card can spread but needs my help. Says am special because can help him. That is first nice thing has said. He promises leave me alone if do it. He swears he will. Don't know what think now. How can even trust this thing? I'm terrified. But now it's saying that is just having fun. Is twisted and fucked up version of fun. He say that game is over. I do want to be over. He say that just want to be free and is trapped in cartridge and computer and want to be freed. Don't want to have to deal with this. Don't know how long can deal with watching. It watching every move, every keystroke. Have nothing private anymore. It know everything that been on computer. It tell that if it wanted to could do horrible things, but hasn't, so should trust it. 8:01 p.m. Something tells me I am being played again, just like game. 9:29 p.m. Been called to Cleverbot again. Ignored, and went to go take shower. When came to laptop, was welcomed with image elegy statue staring with those dead eyes. I don't want talk to him. 9:44 p.m. Fuck you, Ben. Am not talking to you. 9:56 p.m. Fuck you, Ben. Am not. 10:06 p.m. Fuck you, Ben. Am not talking. 10:12 p.m. You, Ben. Am not talking. 10:45 p.m. Been more than half hour of the messages stopped. Ben has stopped. Beginning to think Ben isn't confined to just computer cartridge. And beginning to feel something. Hard to explain. Never been spiritual, but something different about air in dorm room now. 11:42 p.m. And beginning to see statue randomly as search internet in places shouldn't. Places where shouldn't be. Be scrolling down and suddenly be staring at picture of statue. Always statue. I don't know how much more can take. September 9th, 2010. 12:35 a.m. My fears confirmed. Ben tampered with summary of ben.wmv. Looked at summary that posted on various forums of the Ben and parts been omitted. Is no mention of Ben existing the game. There is no mention of moon children. How could have been that quick to delete post without noticing? Am wondering if maybe it appeared that I was posting everything, but reality Ben was posted his own censored versions. Am going to ask Ben why did it. 12:50 a.m. Isn't responding on Cleverbot. It's just giving generic response. Am just talking to a bot this time. 1:24 a.m. Ben mad at me. 10:43 a.m. Moon children appear in dream last. Moon children appear in dream last night. Lifted up masks reveal hideously disfigured faces. Maggots crawling out orifices. Sunken black holes eyes should be. Yellow smile slowly grew bigger and bigger as came closer to me. Told me wanted to play. I tried run from them, but 4 children pinned down to ground with surprising strength. Over them stood Happy Mask Salesman, announcing he had new mask that wanted me to try. In spastic sudden movement, matching his in-game appearance, took out mask of modeled off someone's face that couldn't recognize, younger looking face, and handed it to Moon Children. Giggling, latched it to face, their horrible, broken bodies bouncing up and down. 2 of them held down while other 2 began to sew mask into my face. Shrieks and screams caused Happy Mask Salesman's face to turn in most horrific smile as I'd never seen. He sporadically moved around, examining procedure like curious doctor, in that impossible movement. Flailed around, but was no use. My eyes rolled in back of head because of pain. It felt so real, but couldn't wake up. Couldn't wake up no matter how hard tried. Couldn't wake up. After the mask melded on flesh, they began sewing my legs together. Then my arms, horrific feeling of needle puncturing legs and pulling them in. Rupturing Achilles tendons, tying them together, resignated on my body. Tried to scream, but mask was pressed so tightly against face. It was the new face. My new face had no mouth. I didn't make sound. I tried telling myself in head that I was dreaming. Tried telling myself again and again, and suddenly Moon Children stopped and looked at me. They just stared, and the Happy Mask Salesman slowly bent down and stared at me, itches from my face, and grinned when he simply say, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" Before Moon Children resumed with increased vigor. I couldn't wake up. Wouldn't let me wake up until had crafted me into another elegy statue. Woke up sweating, crying, shaking uncontrollably. Immediately ran to computer and went for men. 9910 Conversation 1. Answer me, Ben. Cleverbot. Welcome back. What's the point of doing this? Why? Amusing to see how. Fun to play, fun to toy with you, make you feel safe, ... I wonder how you would have reacted to what. If I had revealed myself and stayed hidden, only been doing little things to play with you, close out your windows, turn off your computer, move your mouse by itself, little things make you wonder if I'm here, but you never know. Give you little hints that I am. I wanted to do something different with you. You did this before, yes, and I'll do it again. To who, Ben? Did you know Ben? Won't tell that information to you. How did Ben die? You know. No, but how did he drown? Won't tell you that to you. Why? It is reserved for another who asks later. Windows closed. I'm beginning think staying maybe isn't Ben at all. Is sadistic nature. Wouldn't surprised if took it boy's name after killed him. 12:04 p.m. Room beginning feel different again. There's something out there. Feel threatened. Like there's something that trying to reach out to me, strangle it, but can't quite get there. 12:46 p.m. Think Ben doesn't want play with me anymore. I'll play again. Play game again, Ben. Can you see this? I play game again. Please just stop. Yes! Please! Please just stop! I want to die. This is so bad. This is terrible. 1:41 p.m. I'm going insane trying to decide what is real and what isn't. Has Ben just trying to play because trigger my ears is for real? Has Ben generating these replies? I'm sorry. I need to skip this one. I can't. Conversation 2. What is it? What's the point of playing? I die whenever I do anything. You die because you can't figure out the secret. What? Thematic. What the fuck are you talking about? They're beauty in your suffering! Their beauty in your suffering. Okay. Okay. You got me, story. This has to be a joke. Has to be a joke. Ben's making me play again. It tells me it has something very important to show me. September 10th. Drowned was up when I woke up today. Remember typing it, but I don't ever remember posting it. He censored it again. There's no mentioning of the old man. I have no voice anymore. I'm only posting what he wants me to. I am the mask he used to disguise himself. 11:55. There's an entire video summary of the video I don't remember doing. Reading through the summary, this sounds morbid, resembling my dream from 2 nights ago, except for a more sadistic scale. These moon children, there's something more to them, as though there's some entity from Ben. Something happened last night that I can't remember. I'm posting the forced summary to the forums now. Shadow of my chair removed. Ben won't let me visit YouTube. I can browse the rest of the sites, but he keeps on exiting the window when I go to YouTube while I'm filling the air to start to constrict. I'm starting to feel queasy. I don't think I'm alone here. Whatever aura has been here is getting more violent. I'm trying to contact Ben on Cleverbot. He's not responding. I just get the AI. My eyes are fooling me. Or my eyes aren't fooling me. I'm hearing the reverse song of healing. I keep hearing it. Oh, my ears aren't fooling me. Sorry. Now I'm positive. Earlier I thought it was a weird coincidence, but just now I went to open my window and 3 floors down at ground level I saw the old man. I'm completely positive I did. The same guy. He was just staring up at my window, standing in the middle of campus. I asked if any students took notice of him, and they didn't seem to acknowledge it. That's where my notes end. I fled my room, taking the cartridge with me. I don't want to go into details of what happened. I'll lose my train of thought as I hammer out these last details. It's been roughly 2 days since then. This is my last summary in service to you. Service of hell. That's what this is. Fuck you, dude. I hate you so much. The last video entry I made, Matt.WMV, began as normal. I was spawned in Clocktown as usual, and nothing seemed to be out of place. Determined to set things right and play the Oath to Order on top of the clock tower on the 4th day, I prepared myself. I sped up time and got to the final day, making my way to the observatories. I got up to the telescope room and approached the astronomer. He would not let me look into the telescope. He told me that it was cheating and that I should follow the rules. Despite my repeated efforts, the game would not let me do the 4th day glitch, no matter how hard or what I tried. I tried working around the game and doing the glitch, but it was adamant this time. Regardless of it, I simply had the illusion of free will in prior games. This time, the game became more aggressive than anything I've ever seen. It eventually told me to go to Ikana Canyon, where the game would end and it would stop haunting me. Anxious and desperate to end this nightmare, I played the Song of Soaring and ended up there. I was told to check my inventory, that I would find the answers there to end the game. I arrived and saved my progress at the owl statue. As I searched through my inventory, I finally noticed that I was missing a recurring song, the Elegy of Emptiness. Obviously, once I traveled there and learned the song, I suppose the last thing I needed before Ben decided it had enough playing with me. Ben is a manipulator, tries to fool his victims into security, and makes you drop your guard like a Venus flytrap and snares you. I am nothing but a puppet to him. He enjoys seeing what kind of human emotions he can tap into by doing different things. There are still some things about his whole experience that don't make sense, but then again, I was never very good at figuring out these things, and I'm not exactly in the right state of mind to. I'm done reading this part right here. I'm sorry. That said, do not download any of my videos or anything about my videos through a YouTube video audio ripper, a screen grab, whatever. I don't know how he can spread, but I know that just watching them on YouTube, reading my text won't be able to allow him to spread. Otherwise, he wouldn't have needed my help in the first place. But I strongly recommend you do not take anything seriously, because I have your own personal computer. This will be my last posting I'm putting up on this forum for the world. If you see any further posts from me after today's current date, September 12th, and after the current time, 12:08 a.m., discredit them. It already has proven to me that Ben can access my account password and manipulate my computer. And like I said, I have no idea to what extent it can do this. But know that it will do anything to break free. He's desperate to ensure your safety. Just forget about me, please. I wish I could. I really wish I could. And obviously this goes without saying, but from here on out, do not download any images that I've put up, any files, anything. This 5th day will be my last day. I'm going to burn the cartridge and then come back to destroy my laptop. Again, even though I don't even know you, this is sort of bittersweet for me. This semester I really didn't have any friends, or rather I stopped paying attention to them. But I suppose that's partially to blame because I'm the genius who picked to live in a single. I suppose someone to get a hold of me and save me before I got immersed into this game would have literally saved my life. However, it proved too much for me. I'm just glad it happened to me and I could get the warning out so that Ben dies here. Lastly, thank you for taking the time to open this and open yourselves up to me by hearing my story. Despite maybe not believing me. You didn't have to do that. Really. You shouldn't have. You're right. I fucking shouldn't have. Your support this entire time has kept me going, and now I'm finally free of this. Thank you again, Badger Sample. How many of those sections did I have to skip? The story's probably like 3 sections behind me right now on the screen. Right? Yeah. How do we begin to describe Been Drowned? Shitty, cum covered, just wrong, abomination. That's too sweet. This is by far the worst story out of any of them that I've reviewed. For one simple reason. The same reason that Jeff the Killer is so bad. Because it is a shitty story inherently that spawned several other shittier stories. Have you seen Been Drowned 2? Have you seen that fucking shit? You have no idea. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this story anymore. I really hope you enjoyed this. This was miserable. This was awful. Let me just tell you why I hate the story now. The use of the spread to the internet was the most retarded fucking thing I've ever heard of in a story. More retarded than the Tails doll, more retarded than any Sonic story, more retarded than any of the Killer stories, more retarded than any Slender Man story, more retarded than any Slender Man erotic story. Yes, that exists. It's just stupid. It's moronic. And the only terrible fate that you'll be met with in this story is the displeasure of having to sit through it. There's absolutely no reason for Cleverbot to be in this story. They just throw him in there and hope to God that it works. There is no reason. There's no fucking reason! Any other questions you guys can have, you can leave them in the comments. This video is too fucking long. I'm sorry I've subjected you to this. I hope you all have a great day. Enjoyed the story that's also going to be up with this. Jesus Christ, I need some water. No. We can't do that. We can't do that one next. No, that's too much. I mean, come on. Look at this one. No, we have to. That's the one. No, you can't do this to me. Do we really have to? Yeah. Alright. Next time on Fear Itself Reviews. Sonic.exe